Hello, my name is Alfred Day. I serve as the Assistant Vice Chancellor, Student Support and Belonging, and am honored to be your MC today. On behalf of the University of California, Office of the Chancellor, and the Californians class of 2026, we are honored to welcome you to the 2026 commencement ceremony in the historic California Memorial Stadium. Before we begin this event, we take a moment to recognize that UC Berkeley sits on the territory of Huchun, the ancestral and unceded land of the Chichonia-speaking Ohlone people, the successors of the sovereign Verona Band of Alameda County. This land was and continues to be of great importance to the Muwekma Ohlone tribe and other familial descendants of the Verona Band. We recognize that every member of the Berkeley community has benefited and continues to benefit from the use and occupation of this land since the institution's founding in 1868. Consistent with our values of community, inclusion, and diversity, we have a responsibility to acknowledge and make visible the university's relationship to Native peoples. As members of the Berkeley community, it is vitally important that we not only recognize the history of the land on which we stand, but also we recognize that the Muwekma Ohlone people are alive and flourishing members of the Berkeley and broader Bay Area communities today. Now, I would like to personally welcome all of our students, faculty, staff, alum, parents, caregivers, family members, and friends. As the Assistant Vice Chancellor, I have the privilege of being challenged and inspired by our most superb UC Berkeley students. To all of our guests in the audience, thank you for the sacrifices you have made and for loving and supporting your golden bear in making it to this special moment today. Graduates, congratulations on achieving this important milestone of your life. Your contributions to this campus has made us a better university, and your legacy will live on far past this day as you continue to be change makers as Cal alum who make positive impacts on future generations to come. Now, please welcome our stage party, the Californians class of 2026, the student award recipients, and our commencement performers led by Stephen Sutton, Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs. And now, we have our distinguished faculty who will be led by Executive Vice Chancellor and Provost Ben Hermelin, who carries the Berkeley Mace who will be followed by the academic procession and the official stage party. Please welcome, from the class of 2026, Remy Shirayanagi, who will sing our national anthem. Please rise if you are able and remove your hats.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Before I begin, I would like to thank my family, friends, and mentors. Without you, I wouldn't be here. Hi everyone, my name is Dylan Sachs, and I've had the honor of serving as the Class of 2026 Vice President. I am graduating from the MET program with degrees in Mechanical Engineering and Business Administration. During my time at Berkeley, I've had the privilege of being part of amazing communities and learning from some of the brightest people I've ever met. And yet, with all of that behind me, I still leave Berkeley with uncertainty. Not the same uncertainty when I arrived, but uncertainty nonetheless. When I first came to Berkeley, I was uncertain about almost everything. What school I belonged in, what major I should choose, what kind of engineering I wanted to pursue. Honestly, some days I was not even sure I was walking to the right classroom. For a long time, I thought uncertainty meant I was behind. I thought it meant everyone else had something figured out that I did not. But looking back on my education, I started to realize something different. Maybe uncertainty was not a sign that I was lost. Maybe it was just a sign that I was still growing. When we were younger, so much of school was built around pencils. Ticonderoga #2s, smelly pencils, animal-shaped erasers, those pink erasers with way too many holes stabbed into them, that was what we knew. We wrote our answers in pencil because we were expected to make mistakes. And when we did, we erased them. We wiped them away like they had never happened. But as we got older, something changed. Slowly, we started writing in pen. And pen is different. Pen leaves a mark. And when you cross something out, it stays on the page. You can see where you started, what you tried, where you changed your mind, and how you moved forward. That is when school became less about forgetting our mistakes and more about learning from them. When we look back at history, the words that shaped the world were not written in pencil. They were carved into stone, written into ink, printed onto parchment, and preserved for generations. The Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the documents, speeches, and letters that shaped nations and movements were not erased every time the world changed, they remained. And when they were incomplete, people did not pretend the original words never existed. They amended them, they challenged them, they argued with them, they expanded them. The document stayed on the page, but the meaning grew. And I think that is what we are being asked to do now. Not to live as if every decision has to be perfect, not to erase every mistake, but to write with enough courage that our choices can be remembered, questioned, improved, and built upon. At Berkeley, I think we've all learned to write in pen. From our first walks through Say the Gate to our final moments together as students, Berkeley has taught us that growth does not come from having every answer, it comes from asking better questions, taking risks, and continuing forward anyway. We made decisions without knowing exactly where they would lead. We joined clubs, switched majors, changed plans, took classes that challenged us, failed at things we cared about, tried again, and kept going. We crossed things out, we pivoted, but no, we never erased. And because of that, we can look back and actually see how far we've come. So as I graduate, I'm trying to write more of my life in pen. I still have uncertainty. I'm uncertain about what comes next. I'm uncertain about which restaurant to take my family to after this, and I'm even uncertain about what to order when I get there. But I'm learning that uncertainty does not mean we have to stand still. My mom always told me growing up, you never know until you try. And maybe that is the simplest answer to uncertainty. Not knowing does not excuse us from starting. It invites us to begin. Write in pen. Take notes with conviction. Answer questions with conviction. Make decisions with conviction. You will not always be right. None of us will be. But you can always cross something out, pivot, start again, and keep writing. And when you look back, you will not just see your mistakes, you will see your growth. And now, it is my honor to introduce Chancellor Richard Lyons, whose own Berkeley story began as a student. Chancellor Lyons received his bachelor degree from Berkeley in 1982. His collegiate experience was transformative and inspired him to continue building at Berkeley as a member of the faculty. In 1998, he earned the Distinguished Teaching Award, Berkeley's highest teaching honor, and 10 years later, Chancellor Lyons began serving as Dean of Berkeley's Haas School of Business, where he led the development and expansion of innovation and entrepreneurship campus-wide. Now, during his second year as Chancellor, he has prioritized creating enterprises in civic and public sectors. Class of 2026, it is my honor to introduce Chancellor Richard Lyons.
Thank you. Welcome on behalf of our university and our entire campus community. I offer my heartfelt congratulations to you, members of this remarkable graduating class of 2026. Completion of an undergraduate degree at Berkeley is an extraordinary accomplishment. We could not be prouder of you. While this is a day to celebrate your achievement, one of life's great milestones, there's no time like right now to give it up for all those people, your family and friends, who helped you arrive and thrive here. Thank you to them. We take this moment to celebrate and thank those who supported you, who stood by you through thick and thin. And believe me, there was a lot of thick and thin. Let's also take this moment to call out our university's faculty and staff. Those faculty and staff who have risen for you and together with you to overcome challenges, to marshal Berkeley's incomparable excellence, values, and mission in support of your dreams and aspirations. They are creators of knowledge, possibility, and opportunity. Thank you, faculty and staff, from all of us. Thank you. Your decision to enroll at Berkeley was a choice whose benefits will be lifelong. You've immersed yourself in a unique campus culture, built on a foundation of ascendant values and attributes. I'm talking about the freedom to express yourself, the freedom to learn and discover, the strength to hold your own identity. I'm talking about the ability to thrive in the midst of constructively colliding ideas, to being open to diversity of perspective, to having the humility needed to respect differences of perspective without letting them divide us, embracing constant striving, never ceasing to question the status quo, knowing deep inside yourself that there has got to be a better way to do what we do. This is Berkeley. My remaining remarks are organized around three questions. I think of them as measure of a life questions. The kinds of questions you will be asking yourselves when you get to be my age. The more you think about them now, the better your answers will be. I promise. Let me give you all three of those questions up front. One, how many people did I illuminate? What did I stand for? And third, did I remain responsive to change? The first question, how many people did I illuminate, connects for me in three ways. The first is a phrase I love, and you've probably heard me say it: you can't be what you can't see. Berkeley has strived to help you see the promise in yourself that was not visible to you before. This is one of our university's true superpowers. It is also one of your true superpowers as well, whether you realize it yet or not. Part of the commitment to the greater good that is such a distinguishing value of Berkeley is that it also manifests at the daily level. We really are more invested in one another's success. We really do take that bit of extra time to support one another. Commitment to the greater good isn't just an abstraction. We really do grow faster as individuals and as a community by being part of that ethos. The second connection to me, to the Illuminate question, comes from a recent conversation with one of your fellow students. She had experienced our Pathways program that creates cohorts of first-year undergraduates that take a number of courses together. She was describing the sense of belonging and connection that it engendered when she added, quote, "We illuminate each other," end quote. That, for me, is when the angels sang. The true connection, the third connection to the Illuminate question is our university's motto, naturally, Fiat Lux, let there be light, love that, metaphors matter. Fiat Lux is also a call to action, lift people, bring light. This is Berkeley. Question 2, what did I stand for? Again, these are questions you'll be asking yourself more and more as you move through life. What in your future will you feel that you stood for is, of course, for you to determine. We've done our best to prepare you for that. We've done our best to deliver on all three categories, the knowing, the doing, and the being. True, we don't teach you what to think, we teach you how to think. And beyond that, we also strive to develop a sense of agency in you, the doing part, that you have what you need to act on and in the world, that you understand that your life's most important impact will be from working through and with other people, not as an individual contributor that you likely saw yourself as when you arrived at Berkeley. That last part is about being. The cognitive shift from they do that, other people do that, to I do that. This is available to me. Getting beyond you can't be what you can't see. You are uniquely equipped to come to your own conclusions, issue by issue, not as adopters of a school of thought, to be ambassadors, evangelists even, not for a particular point of view or ideology, but for a way of being, of learning, that contributes not just to strong universities, but also to strong communities, democracies, and societies. An alum said to me recently, quote, "Berkeley is the place for people who want to chart their own course." That phrase nails something very deep about Berkeley. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Berkeley is better designed than any other university to deliver on that. The unparalleled comprehensiveness of its academic excellence, the independent mindedness that everyone who dines at Top Dog can see. We figure out how to figure things out. That is our ethos. Yes, Berkeley is more than a place, it's a promise. We all have a sense for what Berkeley stands for. What will you stand for? The third question, did I remain responsive to change? An article I recently read opened with this quote from Charles Darwin: "It is not the strongest of the species that survive, not the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change." Oh my gosh, you are going to need to get this right. Sorry about that. Darwin was speaking mostly about an evolutionary timescale, but we live at a moment where the clock speed on how the world is evolving is dizzying. Please remain as coachable as you can. There is only one appropriate response to feedback. Thank you. Let me add, too, that I believe there's scarcely a better thing to say to a prospective employer than something akin to, quote, "I strive to be as coachable as I can be," end quote. You're hired. There's another nugget that I learned only recently. To maximize your and the team around you's responsiveness to change, practice yes if. You will find yourself in settings, cultures that feel more like no because. Yes, get the if conditions on the table. We need to be clear-eyed about them. Then we need to commit to bringing our creativity to mitigate or eliminate them, but the default is yes, not no. Finally, on responding to change, I was recently asked a lovely question. What's the hardest leadership lesson to teach? What came out of my mouth, and I'm sticking to it, is keep your ego in check. We need you to be confident and capable, yes, but that does not need to come with arrogance. Humility is an intention, and it will serve you. You will listen more, you will evolve faster. Here's an example. One employer said to me, quote, "You know why I hire your graduates? Because they have confidence without attitude." I love that about you. I love that about Berkeley. Moving to the close. Now, here is a part I really do want you to hear. There is so much to be gained if we, as alumni, as fellow alumni, take the pride we feel in this amazing place and let it fuel our collective stewardship and support of Berkeley as one of society's truly most valuable assets. May your years ahead be richly rewarding. May you enjoy much happiness. Hold tight to the things that you carry from Berkeley, and may they provide the best possible answers to my 3 measure of a life questions and the others that you have already fashioned for yourself. This is Berkeley. Fiat Lux and go Bears. Thank you. Okay, I would like to introduce you, and it is a pleasure for me and an honor to introduce to you our ASUC President and proud member of the class of 2026. Please join me in welcoming Abigail Verino.
To the esteemed graduating class of 2026, thank you to our Chancellor, faculty, staff, families, loved ones, and communities for carrying us to this moment. My name is Abigail Verino, and it has been the honor of a lifetime to serve as your student body president, and more specifically, the second Filipina in Berkeley's history to serve in this role. Before anything else, where are my first-generation college students? Where are my children of immigrants? Immigrants yourselves. This celebration belongs to you too. As the proud daughter of immigrant parents from the Philippines, and as the first in my family to graduate from a 4-year university, I know none of us arrived here alone. Behind every degree is a sacrifice. Parents working long hours, families navigating unfamiliar systems, communities believing in us before we fully believed in ourselves. But that's what makes this moment so powerful. Berkeley gave us more than an education. It challenged us to think critically, to ask difficult questions, and to imagine a better world beyond ourselves. And our class was shaped in a time that demanded exactly that. Over these past 4 years, we witnessed division, uncertainty, and attacks on immigrant communities, academic freedom, and the right to exist fully as ourselves. Yet even through these challenges, this class continued to show up for one another with courage, compassion, and conviction. We organized, we advocated, and above all, we created community. And in doing so, we showed that the strength of Berkeley has never only been about its prestige. It's always been its people. It is a privilege to attend the #1 public university in the world. But Berkeley is also lucky to have you. You define what it means to be #1. Because excellence is not just measured by achievement, it's measured by resilience. By the first-generation student translating financial aid documents for their parents while studying for finals, by students who transform struggle into advocacy and used education as a tool for change. There's a Filipino phrase, isang bagsak. Its deeper meaning reminds us that when one of us rises, we all rise together. And I feel that this spirit lives within this graduating class. So as we leave Berkeley, I hope we carry forward not only what we learned in classrooms, but what we learned from one another. That is how to care deeply, how to stand up for our communities, and how to create spaces where others feel seen. The relationships we made here are lasting and supersede borders, and will withstand the test of time with the same care and attention you applied to your time here. I believe we all have two fundamental purposes in life: to love and to create. To create opportunities, belonging, futures that once felt impossible. And finally, I dedicate this speech to my family, my parents, Alan and Arlene, and my brother, Andre, who navigated sacrifices I may fully never understand so that I could have opportunities they were never afforded. This degree and this moment are theirs as much as it is mine. Class of 2026, you are your ancestors' wildest dreams. Wherever life takes you next, I hope you continue to take space boldly, lead with love, and remember that the world needs only what you can offer. Congratulations, class of 2026. We did it. I wish you all the love and luck in the world in your next endeavors. And remember, Fiat Lux and go Bears forever!
Wonderful, Abby, thank you for that. And now I'd like to introduce the 2026 winner of the Peter E. Haas Public Service Award, which recognizes a UC Berkeley alum who has made significant and high-impact contributions to the betterment of American society through volunteering. Here with us today is Manu Meel, who graduated from Berkeley in 2020 with a bachelor's degree that was in political science with distinction. Please direct your attention to the video boards.
Mimi Haas established the Peter E. Haas Public Service Award on her husband's 80th birthday. A graduate in economics from the class of 1940, Peter set a high standard of leadership as president, CEO, and chairman of Levi Strauss & Company. He demonstrated an unwavering commitment to public service, generosity of spirit, and philanthropy as a lifelong friend of UC Berkeley.
I was born in New Jersey in 1998. I then spent the next 5 years of my life with my grandparents in a village in northeast India while my parents lived in the United States. I then came back and moved every 2 years, and then I came to UC Berkeley. I got exposed to a lot of people from a lot of different socioeconomic backgrounds, different ideological backgrounds. For me to make friends, I had to learn how to create space for people that were not like me so that I could actually build those relationships. And that's essentially what Bridge USA is about. I actually came on campus as a pre-med student. I really had no interest in politics. But essentially what happened was February 2nd, 2017 was a day that changed the trajectory of my life because a speaker came to campus and it led to some of the largest protests in Berkeley's history since Dr. King came to campus.
I didn't know it yet, but both Manu and a couple other co-founders of ours, we all had went to go watch what was happening because we were so curious about where politics was going on campus and what the future held for it. And actually the next day we got together to figure out how can we better have conversations, have constructive disagreement about pressing political issues.
And it was a really naive proposition to say that in the heat of some of the most climactic protests in the country, we were actually going to get the protested and the protesters to have a conversation. And that was the launch of Bridge Berkeley, and as a result, it evolved to different campuses, and in 2020, we went full-time and scaled this movement into the largest and fastest-growing student dialogue movement in the country. Bridge USA has one very simple goal, and that is we don't have a democracy if we can't talk to each other. While we need civil disobedience, we need protests, we need challenges, we need to be able to listen to each other. And the idea is to empower a generation of young people that are advocating for dialogue and deliberation so that our politicians, our leaders, our philanthropists are paying attention to the real needs in our country. The problem is not strong views, the problem is how we express those views. And that is the fundamental mission of Bridge USA, to express our views through curiosity, through dialogue, and importantly, through human empathy.
If you're used to the other kind of settings where political conversation's being hostile, and it's not the kind of conversation and environment that we try to have at Bridge, being able to connect with other people is something that is missing in the digital age where we have these echo chambers of online political thought. And I think I've become a lot more flexible when it comes to hearing other perspectives. As I'm looking at public service in jobs I'm pursuing, I'm thinking about a policy that will endure and support people and affect positive change. It's not only conversations, but also what can we achieve through that.
UC Berkeley students, I think the next generation in general, has a huge opportunity to shape what America looks like. We need the smartest young people working on the most important and pressing problems of our time. You have an opportunity to actually contribute to some of the most important institutions in American society because they depend on you. Institutions are made of people, and people define institutions. Cal has a history of public service, our graduates have a history of public service, and you stand on a long line of amazing people that have continued to carry this generational light forward. And that is special, and that's a legacy. Fall in love with a problem that you care about. Don't chase success. And when you fall in love with that problem, people are naturally going to be attracted to you because you're doing something of value in the world, and you're uniquely good at it. That's a really powerful opportunity. Don't forego it.
Mimi Haas established the Peter E. Haas Public Service Award on her husband's 80th birthday. A graduate in economics from the class of 1940, he set a high standard of leadership as president, CEO, and chairman of Levi Strauss & Company. He demonstrated an unwavering commitment to public service, generosity of spirit, and philanthropy as a lifelong friend of UC Berkeley. Manu exemplifies Peter E. Haas's legacy of public service, which was as durable as the denim that defined his family's business. Peter considered a life to be successful when it improved the lives of others' values. How many people did you illuminate? So he sought opportunities to inspire people to be engaged with and involved in their communities. Peter stayed deeply engaged with our campus community and somehow never missed a Cal football or men's basketball game. We are proud to recognize Manu as one of our many alums who continue this remarkable tradition of public service. Please join me in welcoming Manu Meel.
Congratulations, class of 2026. Chancellor, I graduated in the spring of 2020 during COVID on Minecraft. This is a little better. I don't think I've ever actually been in the football stadium during graduation, so this is kind of cool. Class of 2026, I was in your seats about 6 years ago. I know what you're thinking, and it's definitely not, let me pay close attention to Manu. But I want to say two things that are essential, and they actually come from Chancellor Lyons' speech. Berkeley is a promise. We teach people not what to think, but how to think. And you have an opportunity to take that ethos forward. As I reflect on Peter Haas's legacy and the meaning of public service, I think about how I ended up at this very unlikely moment. I entered college as a pre-med student with very little understanding of politics or how to build an organization. Trust me, my mom is still confused. In fact, sometimes today I think it might be easier to be a doctor. But as Chancellor said, if you go to Berkeley, you got to give back something to the country, and I thought maybe we might do something about it. So how did we get here today? I want to take you back to a day that changed everything. February 2nd, 2017. You saw in the video, but I was a young freshman, and around 5:30 p.m., a provocative speaker was taking the stage at MLK Student Union when helicopters flew overhead, media trucks zoomed by, and the sounds of glass breaking rang throughout Sproul Plaza. This protest, one of the largest in UC Berkeley's history, would spark a national conversation about free speech, campus safety, and inclusion. Now, as I said, I was supposed to be a doctor with very little understanding of our politics. Instead, that night, I was having a fundamentally human experience. I was struck by the violence and pain on campus. I was saddened to see my fellow students divided by national news. And I was gripped by a reality that no one was talking about. We were only hearing the loudest voices at the expense of the majority of students who wanted curiosity and dialogue. The loudest voices were committed to a zero-sum world, and the majority of my peers were desperately searching for an alternative. So what happened next? 1 week after one of the largest protests in Berkeley's history, a group of politically uninterested Haas, STEM, and business students had an incredibly naive idea. Let's bring the protested and the protesters for a conversation. Don't worry. It was met with the same nervous reception. As expected, this conversation barely happened. It was like that awkward Thanksgiving dinner. But then my friend Ross, co-founder and chief operating officer of Bridge USA and a partner in crime, had a simple yet profound idea. Let's lead with our common humanity. What brings us here? Where are we from? What do we truly value? You know, the things that make us human that are bigger than our political labels. The next 75 minutes of that discussion changed the trajectory of my life because it revealed the chink in the armor of the division industrial complex in our country. We radically overestimate how divided we are, and we are radically underestimating the power of the human story. Reflecting on this moment today, I had fallen in love with a problem. How do we elevate dialogue and curiosity at a moment when the loudest voices in our country demand ideological rigidity and conflict? Executing against this problem led us to build Bridge USA. What drives us? A very simple belief that I think everybody in this stadium can get behind. We do not have a democracy if we cannot talk to each other. To me, it is that simple. Never would I have imagined that almost 10 years after starting Bridge USA, I'd be addressing my alma mater. Everyone in this side of the stadium, if you want the truth, I barely got in and I barely got out. I found out I graduated in August. Graduation was in May. We're still trying to figure things out, but I guess I'm here to tell you it works out. But here's why. Because public service is all about falling in love with a problem and pursuing it regardless of the probability of success. I think that was the legacy of Peter Haas, and I think that's the legacy of Berkeley. Here's what I'll end with. Fortunately, there are plenty of problems flying around, and I'm sure you're already drawn to one. It is essential that you chase that problem because our generation has a generational opportunity. I'm talking about 1776 type stuff. We are skeptical, we care about the world, and we live during great change. The soil is ripe for new solutions, and you have the opportunity to channel your skepticism into building those solutions, but do it with an open mind. Have curiosity, have love for difference, and understand that humans have the capacity to redeem themselves, especially when you disagree with them. We have enough breakers, we need more bridge builders. If you don't see it, go build it. This July 4th, we the people will celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. To someone my age and to someone your age, because believe it or not, we're in the same generation. That sounds like a very long time. But in the context of human history, it is anything but. We are not at the end of the American story, we are at the beginning. You are the public servants, the pioneers, the bridge builders that this ambitious American experiment depends on, ensuring that the next 250 years pushes the moral arc of the universe closer to the ideal, requires us to fall in love with the many thorny problems affecting society. I'm so grateful to accept this honor on behalf of the Bridge USA movement. This is something dedicated to our thousands of students that are fighting conflict with conversation, and I cannot wait to see how you will serve the world. Thank you so much, congratulations. Thank God this is not Minecraft, and go Bears. Should I keep this? Yes, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Manu. Fighting conflict with conversation. Another thing a faculty colleague of mine said just the other day, take it personally. Not to mean that you've said something to me that I'm offended by, but that I see something I might be able to help improve, and I should take it personally. Thank you, Manu, for that vision. It gives me great pleasure to acknowledge awards to some of our many outstanding graduates. Please rise if you are able to do so when I call out your name as one of these award recipients. The first award recipient is unable to join us today. The Jake Gimbel Prize goes to Evan J. Petty of men's swimming and diving. The Anna Espenshade Prize goes to Casey J. Brown of women's gymnastics. The highest honor that our university can give to a student is what we call the University Medal. The following students are the University Medal finalists. Please come forward for your certificate, and I will read those names here. Madeline Lily Barty, a finalist. Emma Lauren Berman, congratulations to you. Ellie Abigail Gendro Disler, congratulations. And Pinmata Mai Marina Makorn Watana, congratulations. It now gives me great pleasure to present the University Medal to the most distinguished graduating senior on the whole Berkeley campus. And that person is, and we have a video, Charles Edward Long, Jr. Congratulations. To the video, please.
So I grew up knowing about Berkeley. Oh, if you could go to any school, what would it be? UC Berkeley.
My name is Charles Long.
I am a sociology and social welfare major.
And I'm the UC Berkeley 2026 University Medalist.
My studies have mainly focused on inequalities, the carceral system. My dad went to prison, I was 1, and he fought it, took it to court, and then he lost.
When my dad got out, he went back to school. After that, it was like this trajectory. That just showed me the power of education.
When it comes to my favorite class, Lale Baby Yan, sociology of policing. I'm not gonna lie though, there's been a couple times I wanted to walk out the room, but that's what makes it so good, because it's so real. I had signed up for the Navy. I ended up getting arrested. I had been in jail so long, so when they offered a deal to let me out, I just took it. Once you're in the system, it's really hard to get out.
I went back to community college at the age of 37. One of my professors told me about underground scholars before I even got here. And then ever since then, that has been like my community. The only way that we're able to survive in an environment is by building communities. That's how we survive. I give Charles all the love.
When you bring people together, sometimes magic happens.
Charles Long, Jr., it is our honor to present you with the University Medal. Congratulations. I invite him to share some words.
God is good. I don't give a lot of speeches, so we're gonna have to get through this together. I'm gonna need y'all help. Congratulations, all y'all, congratulations. Italian philosopher Antonio Gramsci, writing from a prison cell, introduced the concept of the organic intellectual. Organic intellectuals are thinkers, scholars, and activists grown from the soil of the communities they come from. They don't study to escape their communities, but to understand, represent, and serve them. They turn experience into insight, insight into action, and action into a better world. Many organic intellectuals are sitting before me today. Your experience at Berkeley has always come with a responsibility to the families and the communities that you come from. I see you. I see all of y'all. I have seen engineers who design with purpose and love, artists and writers who make us feel what statistics cannot, researchers who ask questions the world has not yet imagined. I see teachers and scientists, lawyers and journalists, doctors and social workers, planners and designers, entrepreneurs and organizers, neighbors and friends. I see what you carried: family responsibilities and pressure, high rent and endless debt, grief and depression, disabilities and illness, long shifts and late nights. But still, you made it here. You are amazing, so please give yourselves a hand. Berkeley did not make you worthy. You already were. But if organic intellectuals grow from the soil of their communities, then what Berkeley has done is give us tools to tend that soil and make something grow. During my first visit to campus as a transfer student, I heard a young lady from East LA speak at Stiles Hall. She said that we stand on the corner of academia and experience. They read books to try to understand what we live. Those two lines have stuck with me ever since. When I arrived here, I carried a story When I arrived here, I carried a story that I thought would disqualify me from places like this. Now that story is one of my greatest assets. At 18, my future was taken from me by a system that called itself justice. It left me with the resentment that I carried for years. Now, through my studies, I've gained the language to understand that pain, the methods to study it, and the credibility to return to those systems, not with resentment, but with purpose. Berkeley has given me more than a degree. It has given me hope. Hope that people and institutions can work together to serve the people. But Berkeley could not have restored that hope without students like you. Students who organize, tutor in prisons, volunteer in clinics, develop life-changing technologies, translate for their families, protest with compassion, research with integrity, and still ask one another, are you okay? Students who prove every day that intelligence is not just what we know, it's what we're willing to care about. But hope has to be honest. A Berkeley degree is not immunity from hardship. During my first year here, a police encounter at a social justice conference left me face down against the concrete with a shattered tooth. The empty space in my smile is a constant reminder that credentials alone cannot protect us from injustice, but they can become tools to build something better. So today, I do not ask you to leave here certain. Certainty can make us arrogant and unprepared for what's to come. Leave here curious, leave here brave, leave here humble enough to listen, disciplined enough to learn, and bold enough to act. Whatever you do with the opportunity Berkeley has placed in your hands, let it be great. Not because it makes you important, but because it makes life better for someone else. Let your work build doors where someone else only saw walls. The world does not need us to agree on everything. It does need us to remember that we belong to one another. Across our differences, we share a responsibility to leave people more free, more safe, more seen, and more loved than we found them. And when doors close around you, because some will, don't be afraid to build your own. Then hold that door open so someone else can walk through it. We stand on the shoulders of our ancestors. Now it's our turn to pay it forward. Congratulations to you all. Fiat Lux, and go Bears.
Thank you so much, Charles. That was incredible. Thank you. Okay, hi guys. Hello, class of 2026. Family, friends, faculty. My name is Shay Goner, and I'm the 2026 Senior Class President. Ooh, I've been waiting all year to say that. That feels good. Okay. It has been an honor this past year to help plan graduation, organize senior events, and facilitate the continuation of long-lasting Berkeley traditions. Oh man, do I love Berkeley. I mean, it has let me meet my best friends, go to school with my sister, discover what makes me tick, and give me space to think through my long and abstract ideas with renowned professors who ensure ethics and justice guide their pedagogical pursuits. In fact, when thinking of someone who has participated in shaping an ethical future, I think of Professor Robert Reich. A lawyer, author, professor, speaker, presidential cabinet member, and even podcaster, Professor Reich has worn many hats. We are so lucky as Berkeley students to have something in common with him. We, like him, are part of the Berkeley family. Professor Reich taught for 17 years at Cal's Goldman School of Public Policy, where he taught his famous wealth and poverty class. But before ever teaching at Cal, Reich spent over a decade at Harvard, where his ideas caught the attention of President Bill Clinton and shaped his 1992 campaign. Reich then naturally headed the economic policy for Clinton's presidential transition before serving as the 22nd Secretary of Labor of the United States. Yeah, give it up, that's awesome. He utilized his influence as the Secretary of Labor to be a systematic advocate for the working class. He implemented the Family and Medical Leave Act and led a national fight against sweatshops in the US and illegal child labor worldwide. His major accomplishments also include the School to Work Opportunities Act and establishing a one-stop career center which connected people to unemployment insurance, job counseling, and more. After all this, his work, of course, was not done, as he went on to serve on Barack Obama's Economic Transition Advisory Board. Go Obama. Life is not just about garnering a list of accomplishments, though. But hey, if you have them, flaunt them, or at least I'll brag on your behalf, Professor. Robert Reich was named by Time magazine as one of the 10 most successful cabinet secretaries of the century, was awarded the Bruno Kreisky Award for the best political book of the year, his book Supercapitalism, the Francis Perkins Intelligence and Courage Award, and the Fiat Lux Faculty Award given by UC Berkeley themselves. And many, many more. I recommend going to his Wikipedia page and under the awards section. It's very long, so couldn't fit all of it in here. In lieu of all these accolades, Reich has noted that what he is most proud of, though, is being a teacher. For those of you here today who have had the privilege to be taught by him, you can vouch for his kind, motivating, and brilliant approach in the classroom. My hope for the class of 2026 is that you all rise to the top of your fields like Professor Reich has, but also, like him, you lead with a good heart, respect for others, and intellectualism. Take a page out of Professor Reich's book and maintain a moral through line in your life's work. For Reich, he has maintained a career-long moral emphasis on spotlighting inequality even when it wasn't popular to talk about. Beyond his titles, what he will be remembered for is his fight for workers, the poor, and the middle class. Class of 2026, despite the temptations the world may offer, I urge you to be a moral steward of the world, first and foremost. Our future depends on all of you. Please act wisely within the spheres of influence you spin in. The true measure of our education and our degree is how we treat people and what we stand for. Fortunately, as someone in the position to have gotten to know many of you graduating today, I'm confident that the world is in good hands. Class of 2026, to put it simply, you will do great things. I'm really proud of each and every one of you. I just want to say one final thank you to UC Berkeley for having me. To say it has been a fun 4 years would be the understatement of the century. It's not just my middle name, but it's how I feel. Lucky. Oh, how lucky we are to have gone to UC Berkeley. I hope I've successfully hyped you up for an incredible speech by an even more incredible person. It is my absolute honor to introduce our 2026 Spring Commencement speaker, Robert Reich. Thank you, Berkeley!
I'll be short. Thank you, Shay. Faculty, staff, administrators, alumni, parents, significant others, insignificant others, and finally, and most importantly, members of the great class of 2026. It is a profound honor to be with you today. Now, I know every commencement speaker probably says this. The graduates down on that little farm in Palo Alto will probably find somebody to say how honored they are to speak there. But as we all know, those other places are not Berkeley. Now, others today have referred to Berkeley as the best public university in the world. I think that understates the reality. Berkeley is the best university in the world. Now, I may be accused of some bias. I had the privilege of teaching here for 17 wonderful years. Yet as someone who attended and taught in other places, I can honestly say that nowhere is quite like Berkeley. Yes, it's beautiful. Yes, the weather is superb. Yes, its faculty are world-renowned. But more than anything, this place is best because of you. The best students I have ever had the honor of teaching. You are exceptionally curious, remarkably kind, amazingly smart, and you care extraordinarily about each other. 3 years ago, I taught my last big class, my last big undergraduate course in Wheeler Hall. Some people call what happened next retirement. I hate that word. I didn't retire. I just graduated to the next stage. But here's the truth. The truth is, I have missed you. In fact, maybe one of the reasons why I'm talking to you today is because you took pity on me and decided you wanted me to talk to you as your commencement speaker, and you wanted me to stop roaming around the campus telling everybody how much I missed you. There is a reason why both professors and students have such affection for this place. While your time here is relatively brief, in the span of what hopefully will be a long and happy life, the bonds formed here, the people you met, the way you learned to think, the passage from childhood to adulthood will never leave you. Do you remember beginning your formal education? Maybe the first day of kindergarten? Do you remember it? My memory is a little fuzzy on that score because that was back when Abraham Lincoln was president. But if you think that you are now leaving your student days behind, I want you to let you in on a little secret. It's a secret that we on the faculty have not told you, but now is the time for you to know. You may have had your last final exam and your last term paper, but the most important thing we have taught you is to be a student as long as you are alive. Life is about learning. While our job as professors has been to teach you what makes being a professor so rewarding, especially in a place like this, is that we are also learning from you. To be a teacher is also to be a student. To be a student is to be a teacher. Two parts of the same impulse, to engage with a world continuously replenished by curiosity and community. I see in teaching and learning an embrace of life itself. Think about how much of who you are now you have learned from the people now sitting next to you in their caps and gowns. And think of what you have been able to teach them. A question that often haunts me is who will be the teachers tomorrow? Not only in the formal classroom sense, although classroom teachers are desperately needed, but also in the larger sense of helping make sense of the world and showing the way forward. That is, leading. You do not need to be cloaked in formal authority to be a leader. You don't need a fancy title. You don't need a big office. You certainly don't need to be a cabinet secretary to be a leader. Many of our most important leaders through history have had no formal title. Martin Luther King Jr., Dolores Huerta, Rosa Parks, W.E.B. Du Bois, Susan B. Anthony. To be a leader, you need to understand where we should be heading and why, what we need to do to get there, and how to summon the intelligence and energies of many people to help accomplish it. In other words, leadership is a moral vocation. We live in a world obsessed with doing things. We've invented incredible tools, machines, robots, now AI. I appreciate your response. But a much more interesting problem and more important than what we are doing is why we're doing it. Engineers are already designing headphones that can simultaneously translate other languages. It's absolutely remarkable. But the purpose of learning, and the purpose of learning even a foreign language, is not just in order to learn how to order a beer in Belgium. It's to teach ourselves how to see the world from different perspectives and connect with people who have other ways of living and knowing. As I used to tell my students, the very best way of learning anything is to talk with people who disagree with you. The purpose of so much of what you've learned and will learn is not just to master complicated concepts or solve difficult problems, but to understand why you have mastered these concepts and problems, what you might do with your mastery, and how they could help you connect with others in mastering or at least improving your community, your society, the world. I speak from some experience. I did not discover much of this until I was in my 50s. That's when I came to teach here, the best university in the world. Now, at the time, I've got to be candid with you, at the time I was running for governor of Massachusetts. And I came to the Bay Area to raise money for my campaign. That's the worst part of campaigning. I absolutely hated it. I stopped for a cup of coffee at Cafe Strada. And it suddenly hit me. A bolt of light. The clouds opened. It was a day that suddenly became a sunny day. I realized I didn't want to be governor of Massachusetts. I wanted to be a professor at Berkeley, a public university that prizes education as a public good, where I could teach a diverse group of brilliant students who would help heal the world. Now, thankfully, the good people of Massachusetts saw the light, and they decided they didn't want me to be their governor. And luckily for me, the Berkeley faculty decided they did want me to be a professor here. And so I left Massachusetts, and I came to Berkeley. Amazing. It was like the moment in the movie The Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy opens the window of her house that's fallen into Oz, and everything is in Technicolor. That's really what it's about. Sometimes getting caught up in a tornado, occasionally coming down with a crash. And if you're fortunate, opening your window and seeing the beauty of the world you've landed in. One lesson you've taught me is that you are part of an incredible wave of youthful energy, empathy, and intelligence. Whenever I despair, which these days is more often than I'd like to admit, I just take a stroll through the campus, past the Campanile, through Sproul Plaza, under the towering redwoods, and I see the flyers on the bulletin boards, the intricate group dances being rehearsed. I see you coming to and from classes. And I've got a feeling that the nation and the world are not just going to be okay, you will also make them better, much, much better. But I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you, if you hadn't noticed, that we're in trouble right now. With each passing day, the systems that have been in place in this nation for nearly 250 years to advance democracy and prevent authoritarianism are under ever greater strain. Why is democracy so important and authoritarianism so dangerous? Because the moral purpose of a civilized society is to prevent the stronger from attacking and exploiting the weaker. Otherwise, we would be permanently immersed in a brutish war in which only the fittest and most powerful would survive. This moral imperative lies at the center of America's founding documents. It's also at the core of the post-war international order, championed by the United States, emphasizing multilateralism, human rights, and the rule of law. Now, let me quickly admit it's an aspiration we in America, as the United States, have not always lived up to. Maintaining it has required that the powerful possess sufficient integrity and civic virtue that they not abuse their power, and if they do, they are held accountable. Yet we now live in a society and a world grown vastly more unequal. This itself invites the powerful to exploit the weaker, because in an extremely unequal society and world, some of the powerful come to feel omnipotent. But let me be absolutely clear. Unfettered might does not make right. It makes for instability, upheaval, depravity, and war. History shows that norms and laws designed to constrain the powerful also protect the powerful. Without such constraints, their insatiable demands for more power and more wealth eventually bring them down, along with their empires, their dynasties, or their nations, and threaten the entire world. It's the responsibility of every one of us and of this great university to do whatever we can to preserve democracy, fight authoritarianism, protect freedom of speech and expression, and treat all workers well. It is the responsibility of all of us to seek the truth and speak truth to power, regardless of any pressures and threats the powerful may place on us. And it is our responsibility, all of ours, to work toward a society based on inclusion rather than exclusion. Mind you, these ideals do not, should not, belong to one political party or one part of America. They are fundamental. They underpin the education you have received. They form the basis of our lives together. They are central to the meaning of a good society. Now, I'm not going to minimize the challenges you face. From authoritarianism to climate change to the job market and a world in turmoil. But I know that you will take what you have learned at this wonderful place and teach others what is worth doing, how to do it better, how to protect the powerless and hold accountable the powerful. This is the great, unending chain of inspiration and responsibility. All of you are products of it, and all of you have the capacity to keep it going. No pressure at all, but we are counting on you. We believe in you. We also love you. The people who have gathered here today to see you get your degrees, your families, your friends, your significant and insignificant others. We love you. We, the faculty, who have poured our hearts into teaching you and have learned so much from you, we love you. And those of you embarking on the adult part of your life today, the part where you're on your own, when your life is really yours, well, treat it as you would someone you love, too. I mean that. Not in order to boast or gloat, certainly not in order to look down on anyone else, not to be rich or famous, but to learn to be you, authentically you, to know yourself, to be patient and kind to yourself, and to be the best version of you you can possibly be. You are the teachers and leaders the world needs. Thank you.
Wow. An embrace of life itself. Professor Reich, you are an embrace of life itself. Thank you. It is my pleasure and honor to introduce James B. Milliken, the University of California System's 22nd president, a national leader in public higher education who has dedicated his career to driving student success to expanding access and affordability, and to increasing social mobility. Please join me in welcoming President Milliken.
Thank you, Chancellor Lyons, and thank you, Secretary Reich, for your words today, for all you have done for Berkeley, and for all you have done for our country. If I had any sense at all, I would simply say what he said and sit down. To the class of 2026, you are here today, now let's be honest, to hear one main thing, that you've graduated. And to the family and friends of the graduates who are here today, you're here to celebrate one thing, their graduation. So I'm just what you need right now, another suit or another robe before we get to the really important stuff of today. So I'll keep this brief. I've been in higher education for almost 40 years, and I've been to hundreds of commencements during that time. They never get old. In fact, each one is better than the last, which means, of course, that today is the best graduation I've ever been to. Thank you. The graduates and their family and friends have so much to be proud of. Secretary Reich was looking at my notes, I think. I had planned to say, and I will say anyway, the University of California is the greatest university in the world. I don't say public, and I don't say in the US. Of course, those are true, but it's not enough. So I'll say it again. The University of California is the greatest university in the world. And you all belonged here. You all succeeded here. You all are now part of the UC Berkeley tradition of excellence forever. You're graduating at an interesting moment in time, and I use that word advisedly. We are seeing the greatest challenges to higher education and its values in my lifetime. We are seeing the most divided and destructive politics in my lifetime. We are witnessing the most exciting and occasionally terrifying advances in technology. We are seeing the most promising developments in science and medicine. It's a time of extraordinary change, and it presents challenges, to be sure, but it also presents enormous opportunities. And so I am gratified that you, among the most talented, grounded, principled members of your generation, will take the baton and meet these challenges and embrace these opportunities with energy, with innovation, and with humanity. Most importantly, humanity. No matter how good Claude and his progeny are, it's our humanity that distinguishes us and informs us at our best. Now, my colleagues on the stage, at least the senior members among us, will do everything in our power to leave you with a Berkeley and with a world in good shape. But make no mistake, we most certainly will be leaving it to you. And I am comforted by that knowledge. You fill me with optimism. Even more so today, after hearing from Manu, from Abby, and from Charles. We need Berkeley graduates in the world more today than ever. I can't wait to see what you accomplish. Congratulations, class of 2026, and fiat lux.
And now I ask that all candidates for degrees, as you are able, please rise. Please rise. By virtue of authority vested in me by the President of the University of California, thanks, JB, I grant you the degrees of Doctor of Philosophy, Master of Arts, Master of Science, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science. Congratulations, graduates. You may now move your tassels. Yeah. You may now move your tassels from the right to the left side. And here we go. You did it. Woo! Please stand as the remain standing as the California Golden Overtones lead us in Hail to California, the university's alma mater.
Thank you for attending the Class of 2026 Commencement Ceremony. Congratulations to our superb graduates and their families. Graduates, please recess up to the top of the stadium, then meet your families and friends down by Memorial Glade, and remember to drop off your empty water bottles in the recycling bins on your way out. Guests, please remain in your seats until the recession has been completed and join your graduates near the Campanile and Memorial Glade. We wish you all a safe afternoon filled with celebration and community. Again, congratulations and forever, go Bears!